Hello there, thanks for joining me this Friday. I'm Otto Othman and these are tonight's top stories. Government has no plans to raise corporate and individual taxes. Cops nab 10 over suspected terrorism activities. And Hurricane Florence slams North Carolina with life-threatening rainfall. We begin the bulletin this evening with this story. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng today said the government is not planning to raise the corporate and individual tax rates, and this prompted the government to take a holistic approach to reform the country's taxation system. He also said the Tax Reform Committee, TRC, would be tasked with broadening and diversifying the federal government's tax revenue and minimizing tax leakages. Also exploring new sources of revenue, studying the taxation of the digital economy, as well as reviewing the effectiveness of tax incentives provided by the law. The minister added the government has already deferred or discontinued several costly infrastructure projects due to revenue constraints, while implementing a wider open tender system to control its expenditure. Lim said the abolition of the Goods and Services Tax, GST, would reduce tax collection by 23 billion ringgit next year. But it will reduce the financial burden previously placed on the people, especially the lower income group. The Public Accounts Committee will summon two former finance ministers for its proceedings on the Goods and Services Tax GST refund areas, which amounted to 19.4 billion ringgit. Its chairman, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi, said former second finance ministers, Datuk Sri Ahmad Husni Muhammad Hanadzlah and Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani, will give their statements before the committee on September 25th. In a statement today, Datuk Sri Kiandi stated that the GST refunds issue was unanimously agreed by 13 PAC members, as it involves the interest of public as well as the country, after it was highlighted by Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng in the Dewan Rakyat in early August. He also said the PAC commenced the proceedings on the issue on Wednesday and had summoned Customs Department Director General Datuk Sri T. Subramaniam to give an explanation before the committee. Yesterday, former Treasury Secretary General Tan Sri Irwan Serigara Abdullah was also present to give his statement on the same issue. Datuk Sri Ronald added the PAC would also summon other witnesses to ensure the investigation would be carried out thoroughly and did not impose any deadline for the probe. The views of PKR leaders should have been taken into consideration before the party announced Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's candidacy for the Port Dickson parliamentary seat. PKR Deputy President Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the concerns of party leaders should have been addressed prior to the announcement. However, he said the main priority now was to ensure victory for Pakatan Harapan in the Port Dickson polls.
Bagi saya ini sudah menjadi akademik dan tidak perlu kita bincang panjang kerana tumpuan kita sekarang ialah untuk memastikan kerusi Port Dickson itu kekal.
Following the announcement of the PKR President-elect's candidacy, several senior party leaders like Tian Chua and Zuraida Kamarudin claimed that they were not briefed on the matter. However, PKR Secretary General Dato' Saifuddin Nasution said that a consensus was reached on the matter following the party's political bureau meeting prior to the announcement. On another matter, Dato' Sri Azmin also slammed certain quarters who have been questioning his loyalty to the party. The Economic Affairs Minister said he had been with the party through thick and thin under all circumstances from the early days of the Reformasi movement. Meanwhile, Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Syari has described the Port Dickson parliamentary constituency as not a safe seat for the PKR incoming president to contest in a by-election. Speaking to reporters after attending the Selangor EXCO meeting this morning, he said this was based on the party's performance in past elections, as well as other factors which should be deliberated by the PKR leadership.
Kalau kita lihat rasio-rasio kawasan-kawasan tertentu sebagai contoh, PD bukanlah kawasan yang begitu selamat untuk ditandingi oleh Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim berdasarkan daripada performa yang lepas-lepas. Antaranya, jadi adakah perkara itu dibincangkan? Berapa nilai keselamatan dan juga kebolehmenangan di kawasan tersebut? Itu yang saya harapkan ia boleh dibincangkan selepas ini supaya keputusan itu mengambil pandangan semua pihak dan tidak kelihatan hanya diputuskan secara senyap-senyap.
He also said these processes need to be fine-tuned and looked into seriously for future events to ensure the collective opinion of party members are taken into consideration. This to avoid party members being caught off guard by such announcements. Amiruddin, however, reiterated that it is the party members' duty and responsibility to ensure that Datuk Seri Anwar wins the by-election, especially since he is set to be the next Prime Minister. Over 1 million MyCard have been reported missing to the National Registration Department JPN from 2016 to August this year. From that, 80% of a whopping 820,858 MyCard were lost due to the carelessness of their owners. The rest of the missing MyCard were either stolen or lost due to natural disasters. Despite the high numbers, JPN Deputy Director General Jasri Kasim said the incident of MyCard going missing is gradually falling. He added Malaysians are now more careful with their identity card after the JPN raised the fine for losing the MyCard. Since October 2015, those who lost their MyCard for the first time are fined 100 ringgit, 200 ringgit for the second time, and 300 ringgit for the third time. When a MyCard is lost for the third time, JPN would first conduct a detailed investigation within 90 days before considering to issue a new one. Police scored its biggest drug bust this year with the seizure of 72.5 million ringgit worth of drugs during a raid at a factory in Bukit Tengah, Pulau Pinang. During the operations conducted last Tuesday and Wednesday, 3 locals in their 30s to 40s were also arrested, including a female in Pangkalan Hulu, Perak.
Rekod sepanjang zaman lagi. Ya. Rekod sepanjang zaman daripada mulanya penubuhan Jabatan Narkotik pada tahun 1996.
Datuk Seri Muhammad Saleh added that the raid was carried out with the cooperation of its counterparts from China and Thailand. Among the drugs seized were over 2 million Aramin 5 pills meant for local and international distribution. The 3 suspects arrested have been remanded until September 18th to facilitate investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Police are also on the lookout for the remaining members of the drug syndicate. 10 individuals were arrested by the Bukit Aman Special Branch Counter-Terrorism Division on suspicion of being involved with terrorist activities. Inspector General of Police, IGP Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun, said the suspects were planning to launch an attack in a Middle Eastern country as well as entertainment outlets in Malacca and Pulau Pinang. In a statement today, Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi said the arrests were done between August 11th and 31st after police concluded several operations in Selangor, Pahang, Johor, Terengganu, Malacca, Kelantan and Pulau Pinang. All the suspects were found to be from 2 different terrorist cells. He further explained that the first few arrests involved 5 individuals from a militant cell known as the Asoib Group. All 5 were planning to collaborate with another militant group to launch an attack on a particular Middle Eastern country bordering the militant group's country of operation. The top cop also stated that another militant cell comprised 5 individuals known as the Arraya member. The cell was planning to launch smoke bombs around Malacca with the intention to cause panic and harm. All suspects are currently being investigated according to a procedure under the Security Offences Act Special Measures Act 2012 or SOSMA. 2 men have been remanded for 4 days to assist investigation in connection with the killing of a pregnant cat at a laundromat in Taman Gombak Ria on Tuesday. Both suspects, aged 26 and 40, were arrested in Gombak, and the police are still hunting for the remaining suspect. Selayang Magistrate Nurul Izzah Hassan Basri, allowed the remand order to facilitate investigations under Section 428 of the Penal Code for maiming or killing an animal. For the offence, those convicted can be fined and imprisoned for up to 3 years. In the incident, the suspects were alleged to have killed the cat by putting it in a running clothes dryer at the laundrette. The incident was then reported to the authorities by an animal rights group. The footage, which went viral on social media, sparked wrath of netizens who urged the police to hunt down the culprits and bring them to book. A businessman with a Dato' title and his wife were charged separately at the Ampang Sessions Court today with several counts of illegal deposit taking, allegedly for investments in a rice business worth millions of ringgit. Both Rizwan Azizuddin and his wife Habibah Hassan, aged 60 and 54, pleaded not guilty to the charges before Judge Suzana Hussein and Judge Azrul Darus, respectively. The owners of a rice wholesale company, who were arrested at the Bukit Indah police station, were jointly charged with accepting 2 checks for 452,200 ringgit from one Lahazir Saleh, aged 78, without a license as proved under Section 10 of the Financial Services Act. Rizwan and Habibah were alleged to have committed the offence in Hulu Klang between January 4 and 9th last year. The offence provides an imprisonment of up to 10 years or fine of up to 50 million ringgit or both upon conviction. Judge Suzana allowed them bail of 60,000 ringgit in 1 surety each on both charges. The duo were also ordered to report to the nearest police station on the first Monday of every month and surrender their passports to the court. In the court before Judge Azrul, Habibah was charged with a similar offence with accepting over 141,000 ringgit from one Ahmad Zainuddin Abdul Majid, aged 71, at Taman Permata on November 30th, 2016. She was allowed bail of 30,000 ringgit in 1 surety. Both the courts set October 22nd for mention. A Malaysian Airlines MAS aircraft was forced to return to London's Heathrow Airport on Thursday night due to a technical issue. In a statement today, MAS said flight MH1, which was bound for Kuala Lumpur, had left London at 9:58 p.m. London time, but made a swift turn back after taking off. The airline added the plane had circled the English Channel to burn fuel to reduce the weight of the plane before making landing. According to MAS, the plane landed safely back in London at 11:17 p.m. and was being inspected for rectification. The statement also said due to the extended ground time required for rectification, passengers affected will be transferred on flight MH3 on Friday and on other available carriers. Hotel accommodation, meals and transportation have also been organized for all affected passengers. Now coming up, massive cliff collapses onto popular beach in Greece. Details next, don't go away. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at our daily segment Clickbait for what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Now, what was supposed to be a relaxing holiday turned into disaster for some unlucky tourists in Greece on Thursday. This when a big chunk of a cliff fell off at the popular Navagio beach in Zakynthos, Athens, sending the tourists scrambling for safety. The incident, which coincidentally was caught on camera, saw 7 people, including 2 children, injured.
Oh my God!
In the 10-second video posted online by multiple sources, garnered over 20,000 views, large rocks could be seen crashing down from the cliff and into the water. This also caused a small surge of water rushing onto the beach like a small tsunami. In another video, shared by a Twitter user, Wendy Thorpe, showed a small boat overturned by the strong waves created by the collapse. However, according to the fire brigade and Coast Guard, there were no people reported missing or trapped under the rocks. A hospital official said one Czech woman suffered back injuries and was transferred to a hospital, while another 6 people have been given treatment for minor injuries.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Now, some say failure is not the end, and for a postgraduate student in the land down under, his failure definitely wasn't the end. 23-year-old Chammay Naik, who is a journalist master's student studying at Monash University, Australia, decided to seek legal action from the country's Supreme Court after thinking that he had been unfairly graded in an assignment. Unfortunately, his assignment, titled Negative Stereotypes of Dogs, got 12 marks out of the possible 100. Believing he was wronged, he submitted it again to be remarked in the hopes of a better grade, only to receive a slight increase in marks. Without hesitation, Naik took it to court, clarifying that the university acted unlawfully for not disclosing who the second marker was, and believes the same person marked his assignment twice. The said marker had criticized the assignment as having vague motions, poor narration, and no expert interviews. Previously, Mr. Naik's bids to get the assignment result overturned was also rejected by the Australian Prime Minister's Office and the Human Rights Commission and the Ombudsman. Now, updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. The Sentul Depot was the largest train depot in the country in the past. However, it has been inoperative after decades of use, with most of the connecting railway lines to the north and west dismantled. Now, this historical landmark, which has been kept hidden from the eyes of the public, will be opened to visitors for the first time in its 110-year history. More details with Farah Nabila Wazir, who was given a special tour of the stunning colonial brickwork buildings.
I worked here at the railway for 40 years. I joined the service in 1955. The past and now, so much has changed. It's my life is here.
The whole life, yeah?
Yes. In my life and my family life is here. That's why I cannot forget it.
Sentul Depot consists of numerous large bricks buildings and metal sheds previously used once as depot, engineering workshops and storage areas for steam and diesel locomotives and railway cars.
Sentul Depot is a complex railway maintenance workshops dating back to 1905. It once served the Federated Malay States Railway in the early 19,000 until the Kereta Api Tanah Melayu in the 2000s. And during the World War II, most of the workshops here were heavily bombed by the British plane, and some were partially rebuilt after the war.
Being one of the biggest integrated engineering workshops in the world, this place once employed about 5,000 railway people in its glory days.
Alright, this was the workshop to repair the water tanks used by the steam trains back in the days. And what's interesting, as you can see right here, the structure of this building was made by using the railway tracks by the British because the metal is very, very strong.
The depot even built train parts to serve the railway network in India. With its remarkable cultural and historical landmarks, the 200,000 square foot depot will be unveiled to the public eyes tomorrow in conjunction with Malaysia Day.
The challenge is to how do you retain the character of the building. The easy way out is to tear the building and rebuild, but that would lose its character. So we are not going to do that. We are going to preserve the building as much as we can, so that there's a sense of character and there's a sense of history. So when you go around to see the place, you will find that there's so many interesting things. There's a long history to it.
Farah Nabilah Wazir for 7 Edition.
Infrastructure and facility are the two key areas that the Malaysia-China Kuantan Industrial Park MCKIP needs to enhance to exemplify the success of its sister park, the China-Malaysia Guangxi Industrial Park, CMQIP. Deputy International Trade and Industry Minister Ong Kian Ming also urged government-linked companies to also invest in the CMQIP and seize business opportunities from the 21st century maritime Silk Road. Amanda Lopez reports from Guangxi Province in China.
Guangxi has been designated as a gateway to ASEAN by the Chinese government, therefore benefiting Malaysia with the formation of MCKIP and CMQIP because both industrial parks in Kuantan and Guangxi are a result of both joint ventures between the Malaysian counterpart and the Chinese counterpart to ensure the success of the 21st century maritime Silk Road. To date, 10 companies from China and a local company have committed investments totaling 14 billion ringgit in MCKIP. With that, 33% from 1,416.4 hectares of the MCKIP area have been developed since the park started operations in 2014.
I think what we can see here is that the infrastructure in terms of the roads, electricity, water, everything is already prepared. So we don't have an issue where they don't have an issue here whereby, for example, TNB in Malaysia will only pasang the electricity supply only if, let's say, the industries go in. Here, they already pasang everything, and once you go in, everything is, you can have access to the electricity, to the water supply already. So this is something that I think we need to look at in the Kuantan context.
At the same time, he also urged GLCs involved in manufacturing, automotive, hospital management, as well as research and development R&D to explore business opportunities with CMQIP. Citing an example, he added the Associated Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia, ACCCIM, will be developing a Malaysian innovation cluster tasked with hosting small and medium enterprises in CMQIP. All this while increasing bilateral trade and investments between Malaysia and China. Amanda Lopez, Guangxi Province, China.
When we return, gas-related explosions set fire to homes. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. U.S. Southeast power companies said more than 321,000 homes and businesses in North and South Carolina were without power early Friday as Hurricane Florence caused a deluge as it made landfall just a few hours ago. The now Category 1 storm's intensity diminished as it neared land, with winds dropping to 144 kilometers per hour by nightfall. But that, combined with a life-threatening storm surge, had authorities warning of an impending disaster as catastrophic flooding is expected over several states.
About 10 million people could be affected by the storm.
and more than 1 million had been ordered to evacuate the coasts of the Carolinas and Virginia, jamming westbound roads and highways for miles. While Georgia, thought to be in the firing lane, declared a state of emergency for its residents. Duke Energy Corp, the biggest utility in the area with over 4 million customers, estimated the storm could cause up to 3 million outages, and restoring power to all customers could take weeks. The company said it had more than 20,000 personnel ready to start fixing outages as soon as conditions allowed. But the real challenge now for residents is staying safe and alive.
The worst of the storm is not yet here, but these are the early warnings of the days to come. Surviving this storm will be a test of endurance, teamwork, common sense, and patience. My message today: don't relax. Don't get complacent. Stay on guard. This is a powerful storm that can kill. Today, the threat becomes a reality.
As of 2 p.m. Malaysian time Friday, Florence was centered about 56 kilometers east of Wilmington, bringing wind-driven storm surges of seawater as high as 4 meters that could push inland as far as 3 kilometers. Heavy rains were forecast to extend into the Appalachian Mountains, affecting parts of Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Still in the U.S., a series of gas explosions and fires that damaged homes in 3 communities north of Boston Thursday afternoon killed a teenager and injured at least 25 people. An issue with a high-pressure gas main impacted South Lawrence, North Andover, and Andover. Anyone who has gas service from Columbia Gas was told to leave their homes until further notice. The incident also prompted evacuations of numerous neighborhoods where gas odors were present. Lionel Rondon, aged 18, who succumbed to his death, was killed when a home exploded on Chickering Road in Lawrence. Rondon was inside a car in the driveway of the home when a chimney fell on it. Power was shut off in large sections of the 3 communities as a precaution. Authorities estimated it could be a week and a half before every home in Andover is deemed safe for return. State police bulletins on Twitter said it was too soon to speculate about a cause, but local media reports cited the possible rupture of a gas line. Investigations on the incident is still underway. The Eiffel Tower was the center of a light display for 2 days since Wednesday to celebrate a Japanese cultural season and 160 years of diplomatic relations between France and Japan. Take a look at the illumination as we wrap up 7 Edition this evening. I'm Tonton. Thanks for watching and have a good night.